Hi, everybody. My name is Alejandro. I'm a distance learning specialist here. I'm not here because I'm at home, but at Liberty Science Center. So, a distance learning specialist, I'm part of a special team that we do a lot of distance learning to different school groups and to other groups as well. So, one of the big things that we do is one of our big marquee programs, which is the Live from Surgery series. So, that program, we invite school groups to come to the Liberty Science Center, or they can virtually connect so they can see surgery being done in real time and have the ability to ask the surgical team questions as they're performing surgery. So if you remember our very first Live From series that we've been doing for our Facebook live streams, we showcased a pre-taped surgery of a kidney transplant. So you can definitely check that out at lsc.org under the banner LSC in the House. You can check out our very first video, which was the kidney transplant, as well as other videos of our previous live streams, such as the cow eye dissection that I did last week, as well as Ms. Caroline, as she talked about cardiac risk factors. So you can check out those videos there as well. We also have another bunch of live streams coming up. We have our animal update happening tomorrow at 1. We also have Mr. Andrew back doing, oh no, not Mr. Andrew, because they're switching team members. It's actually Mr. Michael who should be doing the live stream this week. So he will be showing us some of the things we can check out during the month of May at night for all you budding astronomers out there. Going back to our kidney transplant tape, obviously, if you are not aware, April is National Donate Life Month. So we figure here at the Liberty Science Center for us to highlight and give you a good view of what the whole month initiative is about. And I have some really awesome guests coming in that will be more than happy to share with you what National Donate Life Month is, as well as a couple more guests coming in that will share their experiences with organ donation. All right, hello Ridgefield Park, hello Point Pleasant, hello New Providence, welcome all. So if you have any questions at the moment, please feel free to drop them in the comments as we speak with our panel of guests as well. If there's anything that they may mention, feel free to drop it in the comments as well, and I'll be more than happy to answer them and relay those questions to our panelists, and they'll be more than happy to answer those questions as well. So let me introduce you all to our group of people here. So we have Ms. Jan Hines, who is a representative from the NJ Sharing Network. We also have Ms. Denise Peoples, who is a double lung recipient. And we have Ms. Cheryl Cohen, who is a living kidney donor. So we may see at some point her husband, he may pop in. He's busy working from home, so we'll see if he pops in, but we'll have Ms. Cheryl talking to you as well. So what I'll do is I will give the floor to each individual so they can talk to you a little bit more about why they're the panelists here for our session. So as I mentioned again, any questions that you may have, feel free to drop them in the comments, and we'll be more than happy to get them answered. So I want to introduce first Ms. Jan Hines, who will give us some more information of what the NJ Sharing Network does, what their mission statement is, what are their goals, some initiatives that may be coming up, and she will give you all of that information. So go ahead, Ms. Jan, you're ready to go.
Great. Thank you so much. It's so great to be here with you guys today. We really appreciate this time to talk about the New Jersey Sharing Network and generally the importance of organ and tissue donation. So we are actually based here in New Jersey, in New Providence. So I heard some people from New Providence that tuned in. So we're right there in your backyard. We're what you call an organ procurement organization. And our job and our mission is to save and enhance lives through the gift of organ and tissue donation and transplant. So we have been around for over 30 years. We run very similarly to a hospital in the sense that we are available 24 hours, 7 days a week, where we actually go out on site to hospitals within New Jersey and work with families that may have the opportunity to give the gift of life through organ donation or through tissue donation. So what I want to do with you guys today is just talk a little bit about why donation matters and why it's something that you guys need to know about and think about, and ideally go home and talk to your families about. So throughout New Jersey, we have close to 4,000 patients that are waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. Not sure if anyone has any idea what the most needed organ is. If you know, maybe you could put it in the chat for Alejandro to see. But the most needed organ is actually kidney. And the average wait in New Jersey is 5 to 7 years for an individual who is waiting for a kidney transplant. So we have a big issue here in New Jersey in the fact that thousands and thousands of people are sick and waiting for that second chance at life. But the good news is there's something that all of us can do to be hope for those patients that are waiting. So many of you have probably heard about organ donation before. You may not know a whole lot about how the process works or what it all means, but hopefully we can answer all those questions for you guys today. Everyone has the opportunity to make a decision for themselves as to what their wishes might be when it comes to being an organ donor. So when you turn 18 years old, you'll have the opportunity to register as a donor when you go to get your license. You can also register online at njsharingnetwork.org. But most importantly is to learn the facts and to have that discussion with your family. So one organ donor has the potential to save up to 8 lives through donating your heart, your lungs, your liver, kidneys. Both kidneys can be donated, as well as your pancreas. So you have the option to save up to 8 lives through organ donation, and you have the possibility to enhance lives for up to 50 or 75 people through tissue. So tissue would be like the gift of sight through cornea donation. Bone can be used for orthopedic surgeries. Skin can be used for, let's say, mastectomy reconstruction surgery or for burn victims. You know, it's pretty amazing to think about one decision that you can make, saving or helping 15 to 30 to 40 to 50 to 60, 70 plus people. It's a really powerful choice to make. And we really encourage you guys to, listen in today. Hear from people that have been personally impacted through their decision to donate or by receiving the gift of a life-saving transplant. And like I said, share some of that with your family and talk about what their wishes might be as well. So as I mentioned, at the New Jersey Sharing Network, we work with families to offer them the option of donating their loved ones' organs and tissues, or in honoring the wish of those that already made the decision through, like I mentioned before, motor vehicles on their license, going online and registering, or having that discussion with their family. So as I said, when we look at close to 4,000 people in New Jersey that are waiting, we really want to save as many lives as possible by having as many New Jersey patients say yes to the decision to donate their loved ones' organs. So in addition to working in the hospitals, we also go into the community and help raise awareness about donation. There are a few big events that we have coming up, and I would really encourage you, especially those of you that are looking for like volunteer hours and ways to get involved. We have an amazing event coming up, and as you can see it in my background, I'm in front of a sign for the 5K Celebration of Life. So this May, next month, we will be hosting our 10th annual 5K Celebration of Life. Now, typically we have this event in a beautiful setting right on the ocean in Long Branch, New Jersey. But in light of what we're all going through here with COVID-19, we're going to be going virtual this year for May. So just like we're doing here today, logging in on our computer, you can actually tune in on May 17th at 10 a.m., go to the njsharingnetwork.org website, and you'll be able to see a live interactive program where we're going to be highlighting donor family stories, recipient stories, patients waiting, living donors, and hear the power of that decision to donate life. After the program is over from 10 to 11:30, we're asking all of our participants, which will be thousands, to put on their sneakers and get outside and go for a walk. You can run or you could walk in honor and in celebration of the gift of life. So that's May 17th. So please mark your calendars. on September 13th, we are going to be hosting a live celebration of life in New Providence at our headquarters on Central Avenue. Now, typically we have over 10,000 participants at this event. So it's a super fun day to come. We have food trucks, we have face painting, we have live music, Zumba, yoga, all kinds of fun activities. It's a great family-friendly event. So bring your parents, bring your grandparents, bring your kids, and that's another opportunity in person to come and join over 350 teams that gather together to celebrate the amazing gift of life. So please save the dates for May 17th to join us virtually, and then September 13th to come to New Providence and walk and run with us to celebrate the gift of life. Another really cool and exciting event that we have coming up is the Transplant Games of America are coming to New Jersey for the first time next summer, July 16th through the 21st. So this is a great 6-day long event. It's really a festival, again, to celebrate the gift of life through competitions, special events, and awareness initiatives. So what I would encourage you guys to do after this program is done is go, well, you're already on Facebook, so it's actually perfect. You're already on Facebook, so type in NJ Sharing Network and like our page. That's the best way to get all the up-to-date information about the 5K, how to become a volunteer. So as I mentioned earlier, many of you, especially students, are looking for ways to volunteer. The New Jersey Sharing Network offers thousands of ways to volunteer throughout the year. And what we do every month is offer something called Advocacy Night. The next one is actually on May 7th, and it's going to be done on a virtual platform just like this through Zoom meetings. If you go to our website, you can actually register for May 7th. It's going to be at 5 p.m. This is your opportunity to become a certified volunteer. And once you become certified, you can come out to the 5K and help us with that event. You can go into the community and help raise awareness right where you live, all throughout New Jersey. And again, through the Transplant Games of America next summer, we're going to actually need over 4,000 volunteers for that week, July 16th through the 21st. So we have a lot of really fun ways for students to get involved in volunteering, students and adults alike. So what we really want you to take away from today's message, and you'll really hear the importance with our next two speakers, is that you have a unique opportunity to create a legacy by making the decision to become an organ and tissue donor. Now, until you're 18, you can't legally declare your wishes, but at any age, you can have a discussion with your family and let them know this is something you'd want to do. So what that would mean is, you know, when your life was to come to an end, you could potentially save the lives of 8 others and enhance the lives of upwards of 75 others through the gift of tissue. And I can tell you, and you know, for those of you that are going to get involved with the New Jersey Sharing Network and come to our signature events, when you get to see donor families that have, you know, lost a loved one, which was a great sadness in their lives, but know that part of their loved one was able to live on through the amazing miracle of organ transplantation, it's really something that brings unbelievable hope and joy to them in their grieving process. And when you get to meet the thousands of recipients that we have that are involved with the New Jersey Sharing Network, and you get to hear that, you know, these are individuals that really would have passed away without the gift of a transplant. When you're listed for a transplant, and as I mentioned, we have close to 4,000 people in New Jersey currently waiting, that is your last and final hope. Nothing else can save your life but the selfless act of a stranger to give you that second chance. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Denise Peoples. We will have time at the end for questions, but I really want you to hear from Denise. What does it mean to get that second chance of life, and how you can be inspired to make that decision and be hope for people like Denise that were in need of a transplant? You're on mute, Denise. Denise, you're on mute. Okay, there you go. I got to hear you.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Hello. Thank you, Jan. My name is Denise Peoples, and I, like Jan said, am a double lung transplant recipient. Back in 2000, I was diagnosed with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. And basically what that is you guys have probably broken the face of your phone. And you see all those little cracks where you can't tell who's calling, and it's like, Mom, I need a new phone. Well, that is how my lungs look. My left lung totally looked like that, and it's called fibrosis. So what it does is it hardens the organ, and it's unable to expand and contract. So, which of course stopped basically almost stopped me from breathing. My right lung, the bottom of my right lung, started to be fibrosed also. So I was told that I would need a double lung transplant. And the wait was, let's see, I got listed May of 2006. So I went from 2000 to 2006 as this disease progressed. I ended up on oxygen 24 hours a day. Little things that, some of us may take for granted, like just jumping up and going to the bathroom. I could no longer do that. I had to think about it because I had to catch my breath with each move. So it was pretty bad, being on oxygen every day, lugging, with an oxygen tank behind me. And I knew that if I did not have a lung transplant, I wouldn't make it, just by the way I felt. So I got listed May of 2006 on the transplant list. And because of certain criteria, I went to the top of the list. And when I went to the top of the list, when a match came, I was able to receive my double lung transplant. There's such things as cold calls, which means you get called, you go in, and after testing, or maybe even after me, maybe I had a fever and didn't know it, and I get to the hospital and they check my fever and they're like, yeah, we can't do this, because they want everything else to be fine except that organ that they're going to transplant. So there's a lot of things that people who are waiting have to do. Most of us do pulmonary rehab. That means like exercising, walking on a treadmill that I've got oxygen, I can't breathe, but they want you to at least try so that everything else is, strong as possible, considering what you're going through. But all they have to worry about is that organ. So the first time there was something wrong with the lungs. Well, I won't say they weren't adequate for me. And then the second time, on October 2nd, 2006, I did receive my double lung transplant. 14-hour surgery, but I was in intensive care for about 2 weeks. Then I went to step down, and then I eventually came home. There's not a day goes by that I don't think about my donor, which was an 18-year-old from South Carolina, and my donor family. I live every day to honor them and honor this gift by taking care of myself, being very vigilant with my medication and just my whole lifestyle, because that would be a travesty for me to do something crazy after I've been given the second chance at life, because I didn't think I was going to live. There were days that were pretty low. And then there was days that I was very hopeful because of, great doctors and nurses and God and, family and friends. But there are days that I was by myself, and, but then the good came, and this person gave me a second chance at life, and I am living it, believe me. So then what happened is, one day after having the transplant, and I was able to go back out into what they call the real world now, which was months, believe me. It was October I had the transplant. I think I went out in like May, other than doctor's appointments. I went back out to, venture out. And I was at a copy place, where they make copies. And while I was home, I had looked up on the internet, like, who does this in New Jersey? Like, who orchestrates these transplants? And I looked up and was, New Jersey Sharing Network. One day I want to volunteer with them. So this particular day, I'm in this copy store, and I remember the colors, and I see this woman making copies. And I was like, that's the place. And it was Jan who was making the copies. And I'm like looking over her shoulder, and she's like, yes. I was like, hi, you work with them? And she was like, yes. I said, gosh, I would really love to volunteer. Well, she grabbed me up, not literally, but took me, under her wing, and I became a volunteer. I volunteered with the Sharing Network for 5 or 6 years. And then an opening came, and I left my present job and went to the New Jersey Sharing Network. So now I am a hospital and community services coordinator for the network. And when I tell you, it is the best decision I have ever made. You work with a group of people that really, really care. And I love what I do. there's a group of us, community educators, that go into high schools, middle schools, colleges, nursing schools, and we talk about the importance of being an organ and tissue donor. We give the stats that Jan gave you, and we tell our personal stories. One of them is a living donor, the other one is a donor mom. And we go into those places and we give that information out, and we hope that it will start a conversation, because sometimes we are standing in front of 8th graders. They can't make that decision, but they can talk about it when they get home. Also, if any of you would like us to visit your virtual classrooms, please make sure that you give us a call at the New Jersey Sharing Network. Just go to our website and all the information is there. We are doing virtual classroom presentations. So we would love to come to your classroom and virtually hang out with you. I'm also over we have 2 initiatives. One is Minority Donor Awareness Month, because there is a great need in minority communities for information and for actual donors. Excuse me. So we have a very big presence in a lot of the minority communities. August is Minority Donor Awareness Month, and we have a couple of events that we put on during that month in order to spread the awareness. And one of them is a Stay Healthy and Move event. At this event, it's held in Military Park in Newark. But at this event, it's not just about organ and tissue donation. It is about staying healthy. It is about the right choices. It is about activity. It's about moving, because we don't want people to need an organ, an organ transplant. But we want them to stay healthy, and we teach that community different ways to stay healthy. And God forbid, if they ever needed a transplant, that other things would be healthy enough, and they would have the information. Because a lot of times people say no or have myths and misconceptions because they don't know the correct information. So that's one of the things that we do. Also, we have the Donor Sabbath initiative. Now, National Donor Sabbath Month is the month of October. At the Sharing Network, usually it is the 2 weekends before Thanksgiving. But at the network, we do things really big, and we take over the whole month. So we are definitely out into any faith-based organization. And if you have a faith-based organization that you would like us to come to and talk, set up a table to give out information, then we are definitely available for that. And that too is on our website. And I think that is it. I mean, you can get involved, check our website. We have volunteer opportunities there, things for you to sign up to be a volunteer. And I think that is it for me. So, I'm here because of great people like Cheryl and her husband. And it is a pleasure when I get to meet them, be around them, because they are just totally unselfish and just want to be a blessing to someone, just like someone was a blessing to me. So it is my pleasure to turn this over to Cheryl Cohen.
Well, thank you so much, Denise. What a wonderful story you have with a double lung transplant, and proving how important organ donation is. So thank you so much for presenting yourself and for the introduction. So I've got a good story with regards to organ transplantation. Many, many years ago, my oldest brother needed a heart transplant, and he was given the gift of life for 8 years. So 8 years after, he enjoyed life, he lived well. Unfortunately, he did become ill after 8 years and passed away, but he would not have had that additional 8 years if it wasn't for a willing donor through their license identifying themselves. Actually, his heart had come from a 16-year-old girl living in Florida, and it was tragic, absolutely tragic, that she passed away. But as a result, my brother got to live an additional 8 years. So it really was something special. Shortly after he died, I ended up being selected to join the New Jersey Organ and Tissue Sharing Network Foundation Board. And for the next 6 years, spent the 6 years learning so much about organ donation and transplantation. It was really quite a wonderful experience. This is my first year not on the board. I will say I miss it very much. So this just goes what both Denise and Jan had mentioned with regards to volunteering your time at the Sharing Network, even being on the board as a volunteer position, being that it's a not-for-profit organization. And it was really special, and I learned so much about organ donation. So I'm going to say about 3 years into my term, I was at one of the events, the many events that the Sharing Network does have, and met a woman. Her name is Renee Harris. And Renee at the time was maybe 73 or 4 years old. And I asked her why she was at this meeting with the Sharing Network. And she had indicated that she had had an altruistic kidney transplant donation when she was 70 years old. And what altruistic means is that she did it out of the goodness of her heart. And with everything that I learned being on the board, and then hearing that Renee did it at the age of 70, I was approaching the age of 60. And I said, if she can do it, and she's as healthy and vibrant as a woman as she still is, and this was, last year, it was 4 years ago that I met her. So she's still wonderful, still enjoying life. I started looking more into the whole concept of organ transplantation. So just as a sidebar, I do want to make mention that I have been an organ donor on my license since I knew that you could put it on your license, which is going back a very long time, but that's how important the whole concept meant to me by putting myself out there. Should God forbid something happen to me, I know that my body is going to be used to help at least 8 other people through organs, if not more through skin and eye and bone transplant. So I started speaking to my husband with regards to the whole concept of me wanting to donate a kidney, and he was so supportive all along. We finally made an appointment with Barnabas Health. They have a Living Donor Institute. We made an appointment to go there to talk to the doctor and all of the nurses and nurse practitioners to see what it was all about. Got a very, very detailed explanation as to what kidney they take out and why they take it out and how it's connected to your body. And we also learned, which was a very interesting point, I thought, that when somebody has their kidney, in a kidney donation occurs, they don't take out the old kidney. They just put the new kidney in the body and then connect it where it needs to be connected. So there is actually, and Jan might be able to talk more about this, but there is somebody out there that I believe has 5 kidneys in their body, which is really pretty cool that you can have that many, and there might only be 1 or 2 working, but they do not remove the others because it's too difficult to remove. You're having a big enough surgery, having the transplant, have one transplanted, that to remove them is even more difficult. So here we are, we're talking to the fine doctor, and he's like, you seem like you'd be a good candidate. You have to go through certain testing to make sure you're eligible. And then he looks at my husband and says, so how do you feel about this? And my husband's response was, how would you like to? Which meant that all along while I was planning this, that he was thinking of the same thing as me. So within, I'm going to say, 1.5 years, we both had our kidney transplants, our kidney donations. I went on April 10th, 2019. It ends up my kidney stayed with somebody who actually lives in New Jersey, which was kind of nice. Unfortunately, I haven't heard from the person yet. I hope that one day they do contact me. It's really up to the person, the recipient, to contact the living donor if they want to meet them. So that might happen one day. My husband went 3 months later on July 11th, 2019, and his kidney went to Illinois. So here we got to spread the gift of life outside of New Jersey, which was nice. I will say that the surgery itself was very, very easy, where they roll you into the operating room, and we both woke up and we both felt fine. They recommended 2 nights in the hospital. Both of us only stayed 1 night, which was really, really special. So that way that we showed up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning one day, and we were home by dinner the following day. And it was very neat that we both got to do it. My husband got to experience it through my surgery, and then I got to help him through his. Not that you need a lot of help, within 4 weeks, my husband was back on his bicycle. He's a very big cyclist, as am I. I took a little longer than 4 weeks because I was taking it easy. But it's you don't even miss it. Both of us had very easy surgeries, very easy recoveries. And now we're fully back to our lives and doing what we've always loved to do, whether it be walking and hiking and being on our bicycles or golfing or whatever it might be. So we really appreciate this gift that we've been able to give to at least two other people that are out there. And like I said, hopefully one day we'll get to meet them. So with that, I'll turn the floor back to Jan, Alejandro.
Yeah, absolutely. So so those are amazing stories of your experiences. So at this point, if you are still with us out there in Facebook land, feel free to submit some of your questions now. We'll take up some of the last few minutes that we have with you all to ask those questions to any of our panelists. We actually have a couple of them coming in, so I'll give some more time to let them come in. So I have a couple of questions for myself because I also did a little bit of research as well. So for Ms. Denise, I know that I'm assuming that singing is a huge part of your life. And I know that you sang the national anthem at the 5K last year. So bringing that up, how has your life been since you received your lungs?
Well, I grew up singing in church as a little girl and have graced the stage of Showtime at the Apollo and just sang most of my life. With the lung journey, that kind of slowed down a lot because you got to either you're going to breathe or you're going to sing. So I had to pick. Even laughter, like I'm a comedian, so laughter, it was just hard to do. And then after the transplant, I was able to sing again. I was able to laugh again. I was able, it's nice. And to do it on, I did it twice at both 5Ks last year. And to be able to do that, knowing what that event means and how much I honor the gift and how much just being in my element with my Sharing Network family, to do that, it was just out of this world. It was crazy.
Awesome.
And a lot of them were like, because they didn't know I sang. So it was cool. It was really cool.
That's really great. And let me go over to Ms. Cheryl. I know I actually highlighted your article from People magazine as you were telling your story. Some of the more common questions that we normally get, and I'll pass it over to Ms. Denise as well, is are there any special precautions since you were an altruistic donor? Are there any special precautions that you need to take now since the surgery? And for Ms. Denise, for you as well, as a recipient, are there any special precautions to take since then? So we'll go with Ms. Cheryl first.
So as an altruistic donor, there are very few restrictions on my life. I am not allowed to play football anymore or roller derby. Not that I ever did, but you can't really have a contact sport, being that you only have one kidney in your body. You should stay away from contact sports. And the second thing is I can no longer take anything with like Advil or Aleve, any type of drug like that. I can take Tylenol, and it's not like I took a lot of aspirin or Aleve anyway. So it really this has not limited my life whatsoever.
Cool. Okay. With me, I cannot eat raw sushi because of mercury and all of that. And I cannot swim in a pond. No, I don't think we do that. So I can't swim in a pond. And unfortunately, my favorite fruit in all the world, no sugar added, is grapefruit. So I can't eat grapefruit like I used to. And I don't eat it at all, really. It's got to be a special occasion because grapefruit for anyone, it lessens the strength of your medication. And the way I would eat them it would be pretty bad because I could eat a 10-pound bag in a week. I really love grapefruit, so I can't do that. I take medicine every day. I take immunosuppressant medicine because just to keep my immune system at bay. Because even though the lungs are now placed and housed, it's still not my original lungs, and the rest of my organs would be like, so I can take those, and that is about it. I'm trying to go skydiving soon. So.
Excellent. So we actually have for both Cheryl and Denise, one of the younger viewers wanted to know, did the surgery hurt?
Want to go for that, Cheryl?
Sure. Surgery is surgery. Yeah, they did have, we have 3 little holes, both my husband and I, where they put the laparoscopes, and then they do have to take the kidney out whole. So they did have to cut us. But you're under anesthesia, you're under general anesthesia, so neither one of us felt a thing. And when we got home, they had given us sufficient medicine so that we wouldn't feel bad after. Both of us were off the medication relatively quickly, and we've generally had, it was a little bit of discomfort. We were only allowed to walk for 30 days, and being how active we both are, that was tough on us both, but understandable. But beyond that, we did not have a lot of pain, neither one of us. So it was a very good outcome for us. Back to you, Denise.
No, like Cheryl said, it's major, well, for me, major anesthesia, because they're kind of cutting through some things, like sternums and muscle. So no, I did not feel anything during the surgery. I felt a tingle when they took the chest tubes out. I felt tight. I was numb for a couple of years up top. I was numb, like I couldn't feel anything. But when I took a breath, just getting my body, those muscles working again, a tightness. But other than that, no pain.
All right. Another question for Ms. Denise. This is from Deanna. How long have you had your lungs?
13 years, 6 months. Yep.
All right, excellent. So I'm going to pass these questions from the audience to Jan. Given light of the current events that's going on right now, some of the viewers are wondering if you have any information on let me see if I can read this question correctly. How has the pandemic affected donations, and is there a current protocol in terms of people who are donors that ended up with the illness? Like, can they still donate?
Okay. Oh, great questions. So what we are seeing in New Jersey, we have 6 transplant centers in the state of New Jersey that, house the list for those close to 4,000 patients. We are seeing that they're being more careful with who they bring in to go forward with a transplant in light of what's happening in the hospital. So they don't want to take a patient. So let's say with Denise, one thing that I'm not sure if she mentioned, is that she was actually on oxygen 24 hours, 7 days a week for close to 2 years, I believe, waiting for her lungs, right? So this is someone who is in a very sick state of health. They don't want to bring a recipient into the hospital and put them at risk of contracting COVID-19 and then have them have a worse outcome than waiting. So if there are patients, and unfortunately there are, that are so close to death waiting for a life-saving transplant that they are still going forward with transplants in the state of New Jersey. Unfortunately, every day about 20 people die across the country waiting for a life-saving transplant. So transplant has not stopped. It is continuing to happen, but they are just being more careful with the timing of bringing patients in. And if a patient is doing well enough that they can wait till this kind of subsides, then they're going to kind of push those transplants off. Regarding who can be a donor, so one thing that we just say generally is we encourage everyone to register as a donor regardless of age or diagnosis. So a lot of people think, well, I'm 65 or I'm 75 or I have diabetes or I have hypertension. You know, anyone can register as a donor and be hope for those waiting. So we never want anyone to rule themselves out as a potential donor. When it comes to this specific issue of COVID-19, that is currently going to be a medical rule out because there's just too many unknowns with the severity of the disease and the contagiousness of the disease. So we aren't able to recover organs from patients that are currently positive for COVID-19. But generally speaking, you'd be surprised to see that we have organ donors into their late 70s. We have tissue donors into their 80s. We have organ donors that have had, hepatitis or diabetes or other issues that you would maybe not think are the healthiest person, but are still able to save a life through that gift of transplant. So hopefully that answers your question regarding COVID, but I did want to address on a larger scale. Don't ever rule yourself out as a potential donor. You know, you could be hope to someone and have no idea. So just register and share that decision with your family.
Absolutely. It's a really great message. I also have a comment that actually came up from one of our viewers, from Jeff. They just wanted to let you know that you are also brave, and they hope that when they are older, they will be able to do that as well. So they definitely got a lot of positive, inspiration from this. So obviously, I thank you all again for, coming in, spending some time with us to tell us your experiences. So if there aren't any questions, I know that we are reaching towards the time for us to finish. What we'll do is, if you want to re-mention some of those events, I'll put up the slide that you sent me, and we'll, end it from there. So go ahead, Jan, back to you.
Great, thank you so much. Well, again, we just are so grateful for this opportunity. What I want you guys to get from this message is really the power of one, right? The power of one decision, one conversation, one act of generosity and how it can impact so many lives. So here we have Denise, 13 years later, not only does she have a second chance of life, but how many lives she's able to impact by spreading the message of her story and getting people more informed about donation. And with Cheryl, that one decision by hearing one other person who made that choice to give life to someone else. And we have no idea the ripple effect that recipient has had on so many others. So each of you listening here today have the power to make this decision, share this decision with your family, and become an advocate for us. Spread the message. A lot of people, they haven't really thought much about organ donation or transplant because it's one of those things that until you're personally impacted, you don't really think too much about it. But when you hear stories like what Cheryl's done and what Denise has gone through, I hope that it inspires you to say, this is an issue I really want to care about, and not only care, but take action to make better. And so what I would encourage you to do is tune in on May 17th to our virtual 5K. Come on September 13th to our in-person 5K. But before the day is done, before you log off, while you're on Facebook, go to njsharingnetwork.org, like our page, and that way you can stay in the loop of all of our upcoming events. Ways to become, like I said, a volunteer on May 7th through Advocacy Night, joining us at one of our Donate Life groups, which meet all throughout the state of New Jersey, where you can become like a local ambassador in your community. But just really in closing, to know that you have amazing power to save lives. Through your message and through your decisions. So hopefully you'll take some action, and we'll see you soon. And you can become part of our network of family and supporters and help us spread the message that organ donation is a beautiful gift of life.
And for the rest of our viewers, just remember, definitely check us out for more of our content on lsc.org under the banner LSC in the House. You can also contact us through social media. There's some really awesome experiments on there for you to try out. We definitely want you to let us know that you've tried out some of these experiments. Also remember, we have some really great live streams coming up. Like I mentioned, tomorrow, Animal Update. On tomorrow at 1, we also have our planetarium crew. They'll be doing something about checking out what you can see during the night sky during the month of May. So you'll see that on Thursday at 1. And then we have some really great programming every week of live streaming. We have Mr. Kengo coming back. We'll have Miss Caroline taking over our Tuesday slot for another really interesting topic, and always getting our animal updates weekly and our planetarium content weekly. So feel free to check us out on those events. Also, definitely, like I said, check us out at LSC in the house at lsc.org. And I just want to give a big thank you to Jan, to Cheryl, to Denise for giving their time to join us for our live stream, to give us more information of what the organization does, and having Cheryl and Denise sharing some of their experiences with organ donation. So thank you once again. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of working at home and learning at home. Thank you for joining us. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks.